I think the biggest question I always ask myself is, what do I really want to use my life for? And it's always the same answer. It's creating. I'm constantly trying to create and find out what it is. And in reality, I really don't know what creating is. I'm chasing after what I think is some sort of reality, but I really don't know what my reality is sometimes. And creating these videos, ideas spark, whether that's in the morning or at night, or even sometimes just in a room. And usually my office kind of like gets me inspired to come up with an idea. And creating usually starts from the instinct that happens, it just kind of, it's like it happens on accident, or it happens sometimes just in the moment. And I think that's when it feels the most honest to me. And there's no scoreboard attached to it, there's no algorithm, there's no pressure. It just comes out as the expression as is. I think that's why early moments feel the most pure, and because in a way you're documenting your life before you start measuring it. The hardest part is once the art is like shared publicly. I think that's when I felt like my expectations start to mess with me, and because you start competing with views, and because views start competing with emotion, and suddenly sometimes something that felt more like a personal diary begins to feel more like a performance. Like it almost feels like you're being judged in real time. Not because the passion is disappearing, but it's because the comparison becomes more louder than curiosity. And then, you begin asking whether the work that you're doing, is it good enough? Or am I asking whether is it even real enough? And for example, like what I can give you an example about the movie theater. So like before COVID, experiences felt more present and less analyzed. Like, like watching something in the theater before COVID, which was the Avengers Endgame movies. And it wasn't only about whether it was objectively a really good movie. It was about where you were, who you were with, the anticipation, the shared reactions, and the emotional investment like that you build over the years. And the experience itself carries more meaning. But afterwards, it's the expectations that changed, and I felt like that got the best of me, and I had to kind of look in the mirror and kind of reflect, like, is it just me, or should I be always looking at just the experience? And, and then it's like when you're entering a theater, it should be to experience something. But subconsciously, I was trying to recreate a feeling that already happened once, and expectations almost always lose against genuine experiences because expectations are built on comparison while experiences are built on presence. I think that was the realization that I had, and the expectation and the experiences always win. So probably one of the most important things that I guess artists and people who put themselves out there is, it's the most meaningful work that rarely comes from trying to outdo yourself or trying to impress everyone else. I think it usually just comes from moments where you forget the outcome entirely and create because you need to understand something emotionally. Like there's something built inside, like people want to connect to you authentically because they feel when something is made honestly instead of strategically. And I think that's why maybe I always keep returning to creating, even when the pressure kind of feels like it's getting the best of me. I feel like underneath all the expectations, you already know the real reason why, you do it and why I put myself through it, all these struggles and mental blocks or whatever. I'm not chasing perfection. Like I'm trying to capture the feeling before it disappears, trying to understand life through music and visuals, memory, the atmosphere, or even reflection, trying to make some sort of sense of myself through the process. I think not knowing fully what I'm chasing yet, but it sounds like the process itself is guiding me there. not every creator is meant to have like a perfect defined destination like myself, I feel. And I feel like some creators are observers and some are people who turn ordinary moments into something that lasts a little longer than the moment itself. And I feel like the honest fact is that you still can care about the experience of creating. And that's the most important part of being an artist and putting yourself out there.